Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Philbert D, and I've had the flu for the last week. Great time to be sick. It's not like everybody doesn't freak out when I cough and stuff. This is Phil on Films. This week, we're reviewing Block Z and The Gentleman.
I want you to play a game with me, Ray.
I don't want to play a game.
Oh, please.
No.
I said play a game with me, Raymond.
Right.
Lovely.
Mickey Reardon, played by Matthew McConaughey, is an American expat living in England. He runs a criminal empire, cornering the underground market of marijuana production and distribution. But he's ready to get out of the business, and he's looking to sell off his operation to a fellow kingpin for a substantial sum. This sets off a series of betrayals and reversals that throws everything into chaos. Now, it's been a while since we've seen Guy Ritchie in this mode. For the past couple of decades, he's been enjoying a stint in the blockbuster playground, applying some of his sensibilities to films that involve gigantic VFX budgets. Now, if you've missed the Guy Ritchie of old, the Guy Ritchie of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, then this is probably worth a look, at the very least. Now, the cast is littered with A-listers this time, but the spirit is very much the same. But that's not necessarily a good thing, because it really shows a lack of growth. There's more than one really questionable bit in here. Stuff that borders on racism and homophobia and sexism, if not entirely crashing into that territory with a note of glee. I'm sure there will be arguments about how it's all just a bit of fun or how it's all equal opportunity offense. And maybe 20 years ago, a younger me might be making those very same arguments. But I'm 36 now, and I've grown, even if Ritchie hasn't.
His name is Fahak, but spelled with a PH, so it sounds like Fahak. Please! Alright, Fahak, Kanda Fahak.
Now, I won't deny that there is some real charismatic energy to these scenes. The movie really harnesses the power of these actors, putting them in these fizzy, dialogue-driven scenes where the power dynamics keep shifting. These men have a lot of presence, and the film really wrings every bit of swagger out of them. And that can be fun, or it can be tedious. I guess it really just depends on how enamored you are still with Ritchie and his obsession with well-dressed men with no qualms about hurting other people. It's okay. 3 stars.
The Philippines is just one epidemic away from
More than
total
2,000
collapse.
cases because of the highly contagious disease.
Nag-flatline na siya, Miles.
Julia Barreto is PJ, a senior medical student at San Lazaro University. She and her blockmates are winding up another typical day at school when something really unusual happens. A patient that died at the university hospital suddenly comes back to life as a zombie. The infection spreads quickly, throwing the university into chaos. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on within this zombie context. So there's a fraught daughter-father relationship that's tied to a revealed past trauma involving her mother. There's a relationship with a guy in this film played by Joshua Garcia. There's a history there that the film tries to play out and a relationship that it tries to capitalize on. There's stuff involving her friends who have their own little subplot and own little weird relationship brewing. There's stuff with student protests about tuition fees and the administration and the relationship between the administration and the student council. One of the student council people is like the son of a general, and there's something in there. And this is all tying to this larger like political statement about how people in power don't really care about the people they're supposed to be taking care of. The film deserves props for ambition. It isn't just trying to tell a story where zombies break out and people have to survive. It's trying to create this larger framework where it's using the zombie genre to say something. Now, if it's able to say that effectively, that's up for debate. I personally think it all gets pretty muddled. But yeah, I prefer the attempt rather than just doing nothing with it.
Guys, hindi na safe sa labas.
Mas malaki yung chance natin mag-survive kung sama-sama tayo, kung magtutulungan tayo.
That all said, I do think this narrative should have cut back a bit. Could have been a little simpler, if only to focus on the mechanics of this whole zombie outbreak. Because once you start to get into the details of what actually happens in the movie, very little of it makes any sense. First of all, the film goes out of its way to establish at the start that the people in this world, in the world of the movie, know what zombies are. There's a line at the start of the film referring to some game about the zombie class does something. But then also later, like, the film goes out of its way to like never say that these people are zombies. It feels almost unrealistic for people to react that way. And that becomes a theme for this movie, where sometimes it just feels like people aren't reacting in a realistic way for the benefit of the plot. Like the very first zombie attack in this film has one of the characters just running away right away, not even trying to help a guy being attacked. And it feels like that's convenient for the plot because that allows the zombie to go on and attack other people. But it doesn't engender trust in that character who we follow later on. It just doesn't feel like what's supposed to have happened. Later we see the government reaction to it, and that doesn't make any sense either. And the entire plot in itself is just the characters running around and not even trying to fight back when they do have an opportunity to fight back. Because clearly these zombies are dangerous, but they're not that dangerous. At the end of the day, they're just a bunch of unarmed feral people, and they can't climb, and we establish later that they're kind of afraid of water, and that's not used enough. The film doesn't give the characters enough opportunity to fight back, and that really becomes a burden on the plot because these characters are headed to some vague location, and it doesn't feel entirely right that these characters are putting so much faith in this vague notion of salvation when they could be doing other things.
Mas malaki yung chance natin mag-survive kung sama-sama tayo, kung magtutulungan tayo.
Wala tayong iiwan, ha?
Now, in spite of all that, the film just kind of works sometimes. Like, again, once you start looking at these scenes individually, there's that typical Mikhail Red virtuosity. It's like, oh yeah, this guy knows his genre, he knows how to move a camera, he knows how to shoot action. I mean, some of it is janky, but some of it actually works. Some of the smaller moments in the film work, some of the action moments, some of the emotional scenes. Again, it can't handle all of that political commentary and that emotional content, but there are moments where it works. And the film does deserve props for that. I've always liked Joshua Garcia, I've always liked Julia Barreto. I think they work well enough in this movie. Ian Veneracion is used effectively. There are some weak points in the cast, but we don't need to talk about that. There's fun to be had in this film if you aren't thinking too hard about it. Unfortunately, I don't have that ability anymore. I really don't. Now, I do appreciate that, like, we're even doing this kind of thing. The thing that's most interesting about it is it does feel different from what is typically offered. When we have horror films, they're usually Asian horror copies where, ghosts show up in the background and ladies with long hair and white faces try to spook us. This feels more active, even though I don't think it fully works. There is some merit to this. I just don't think it worked out completely. 2.5 stars. Let's answer a question. DSBH2008 on YouTube asks, in your experience, do filmmakers need to answer for their odd script choices prior to release? Like in the case of Mia, would the director have been challenged to make the relationship warmer, to better deliver the issue sermons? If so, where will these challenges come from? It really depends. Depends on how much a producer cares. In the case of Mia, I'm told actually Viva gives a lot of freedom to the filmmakers to do whatever they want. Viva generally has a hands-off approach. They're just like, we'll release it. Maybe it'll make money, maybe it won't. I don't know. When you're working with a bigger studio, it's notes all the way down. Star Cinema is known for having a committee that regularly meets you and keeps telling you what's wrong with your script or what's wrong with your story. Generally, it's the people who are giving you money to make your things that would most give you questions about what you're doing. Speaking as somebody who was in the selection committee of film festivals, even that, it came from there. We, like, right from the start when they were pitching their things, we would give them questions about their scripts, and in the end, we wouldn't try to guide them too much, but like even in the pitching, we wanted to know that if issues came up, like the filmmakers would be able to react accordingly. Let's just answer this one last thing. Juicy Shack Meat asks, I don't get the ending of the video. Who is Mr. Benjo? I think that's auto captions. It's Mr. President. And until next time, goodbye, internet. Go piss in a volcano, Mr. President. Duterte said that he would piss on Taal volcano to put it out. So let's take him up on his offer. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to announce here that I am programming a weird little film program at the Link Car Park as part of Art Fair 2020. It's going to be a space where you go in and we're just going to be screening movies. It's going to be weird. I'm going to try to show as wide a range of movies as possible because film is art. Some people don't think film is art. Film is art, and I just want to show you that. And also, in conjunction with that, the week prior to Feb 21, that's Feb 14 to Feb 16, at the Ayala Triangle Park, we're going to be doing a bunch of outdoor screenings. We're going to be projecting movies on the ceiling of Ayala Tower 1, the former Philippine Stock Exchange. And we're going to set up a space there, and you're going to lie down and you're going to watch a film on the ceiling. And there will be special activities there. I promise you, it's going to be one of the most exciting activities of the art fair, where people might be showing up. I'm not telling you who. It's going to be fun. I'm exhausted, but it's going to be fun. Anyway, until then, you have this video, and you can like and subscribe and comment and ask questions and do all those internet things. And until next time, goodbye, internet. I'm still sick. Yeah.